Welcome to Purana Talk.
We're studying the Garuda Purana, and we're on chapter 18 in the second kanda.
Entitled Life After Death. And today's episode is brought to you by Nescafe, the preferred coffee beverage of like 80% of the planet. So when did you get so special? Don't knock it. Life after death. The Lord said, and we all know who that is. If you just joined us, we're assuming that this is Vishnu by name, but everything is. So it could be Edgar from down the street for all I know. Who is also Vishnu. Who is also Vishnu. The Lord said, on hearing the words of Shravanas and thinking about the problem for a while, Chitragupta informs about all those actions, pious or impious, performed by the people. He repeats them also to the person concerned, not talking behind your back. So we're talking about these little sons of Brahma. What do you think I was going to say? Who basically go around and spy on people and their good deeds and bad deeds, and then they report to the Lord of Death, who decides how to torture them or not.
I wouldn't say they spy so much as they know everything about what you do.
Let's say they're interested.
Think, what you do, what they were explained last time. You can go to our last episode 17.
They're watching. It's like Abner.
The neighbors.
The neighbors. Know what she's
doing.
I think
they're
now.
like the 12 signs. Like there's an individual put watching you.
They're not the 12 signs when there's only 8 of them.
Well,
they could be when there's 12 of them, right, but when there's only 8.
Exactly, but last time they were 12. The chapter before that, there were only 8 of them. Anyway, go ahead.
Whatever action a person undertakes by word of mouth, body, or mind, whether good or bad, he reaps the fruits thereof. O Lord, thus I have told you about the path which the departed soul has to traverse. I have also told you about the places of rest for the departed soul. If food is gifted in his favor, he travels in comfort on the highway. To illuminate the path, an earthen lamp should be kindled, put in the appropriate place, and kept burning by day and night. The path, though dark and dreadful, dog-infested and void of resting place, becomes luminous and pleasant for those who have gifted an earthen lamp.
Oh, is he crowding
you? No, just. If an earthen jar is gifted on the 14th day or the month of Kartika, it gives comfort to the deceased. Now I shall tell you in brief about the path of Yama for the departed soul. He goes to the world of manes as a result of the merit accruing from the performance of Vrishotsarga. That's letting the bull go.
Right.
By the rice ball offering on the 11th, he attains physical purity. The servants of Yama are satiated by the gifts of water jar. By gifting bed, the deceased goes to heaven by the aerial car. The gift of bed can be made on any day or on the 12th day from death. On the 13th day, he should give precious articles of different varieties in favor of the deceased, or the person himself, when alive, should give these articles for himself. You can do preemptive after-death rituals. For yourself.
Especially advisable,
especially if
no
you know
do them for
you've pissed off everybody, and they're just gonna turn their backs and wipe their hands and walk away and
say, gee, I'm glad that's over.
So you might consider this if you're
who you are.
No, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think some of them don't know.
Well,
I hope
I'm not one of them. They're not going to do, I suppose.
Okay. On the 13th, yeah, okay. O Garuda, by the merit of accruing from these gifts, he goes comfortably on that path. O Lord of birds, there prevails a uniform law for all the higher, lower, and the middling classes. O bird, you should know that a person reaps the fruits, sour or sweet, in proportion to the nature and extent of actions done by him. Whatever gifts he or his relatives make in his favor stand in good stead while he is on journey to the world of Yama. Garuda said, O Lord, why should they give padas, and of what nature? Who shall receive the gifts? O God of gods, let me know the facts. The Lord said, an umbrella, shoes, clothes, a ring, a water jar, a chair or stool, and a vessel. These are the 7 padas. There is a terrible heat in the way which scorches the departed soul. By the gift of umbrella, the deceased receives shelter of shade and feels comfortable. By the gift of shoes, the deceased passes over the sword-edged forest mounted on the horse. By the gift of a seat, asana, to a Brahmin, the deceased obtains tasty meals in the interval of time while he walks over the path at his leisure. By the gift of a water jar, he gets enough water on the way, which is full of heat, devoid of air and water. A person gifting a water jar made of copper receives assuredly the merit of constructing 1,000 wells. The messengers of Yama are dreadful to look at, dark and yellow in appearance. They are courteous, too, if propitiated by the gift of clothes and ornaments. When satisfied, they do not torment the deceased. They wield terrible weapons, run here and there. By the gift of a ring, they vanish from the presence of the deceased. The pada is completed by the gift of a vessel, a seat, raw food, clarified butter, and a sacred thread. Tired and thirsty, the traveler feels comfortable if he is gifted the buffalo's milk in his lifetime. We're at 26. Garuda said, O Lord, things are gifted by the relatives at home in favor of the deceased. How do they reach the deceased, and who receives them? The Lord said, God Varuna receives those gifts and hands them over to me. I give them to Lord Bhaskara, the sun. From Bhaskara, the deceased person obtains them. Kind of complicated. I bet everybody's skimming a little off the top, too. Just as a result of sinful activities, when no descendant is left on the earth, the deceased person goes to hell until his sin is exhausted. After his term is expired, the pious soul is allowed by Yama, the lord of 84 lakhs of hells, to have a look at hells and hear the cries of pretas, the departed souls. In the midst of hells, there are 21 notorious hells. Let me name them. They are Tamisra, Lohashanku, Mahararava, Shalmali, Raurava, Kudvala, Kalasutraka, Putimritika, Sagata, Lohatoda, Savisha, Pretapana, Mahanaraka, Kalola, Sajivana, Mahapata, Avichi, Andatamisra, Kumbhipaka, Asipatravana, and Patana. A lot of people have been to Patana.
It's a place.
There's actually a few Patans and Patan and things like that, where the goddess's hand falls in the Sati mythology. It's a Patana. Patan. Those who have passed several years in the dreadful hell and have no descendants to offer gifts in their favor become messengers of Yama. Yama sends them on errands, and they share with the dead the food and drink which their relatives offer them from time to time. Being extremely hungry, they seize the dead man's gifts on the way and eat them. A rice ball gifted as food to the dead at the end of a month satiates them for a year. By such deeds of merit, gradually he receives Sauripura. Then by the end of a year, he reaches the vicinity of dreadful Yamaloka. Here he gives up his dreadful body of the measure of arm, which he derived within 10 days from the 10 pindas gifted to him by his descendants. His spirits droop at the sight of Yama as the spirit of Parasurama at the sight of Ram.
I don't know the reference there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know quite about the encounter of Ram and Parasuram, which is Rama of the axe, right? The axe wielding Rama.
Mm-hmm.
He gives up his previous body for the one derived from his actions. He receives an airy body of the size of a thumb and reaches the sword-edged hell. Here he walks on a single foot, bound helplessly by his actions as a caterpillar by reeds. Just as a person casts off his old dress and puts on a new one, so the soul gives up his old body and assumes a new one. In case you were wondering what happens after you die. God, they keep marching back and forth over the same territory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been through this cosmology a few times, and it's never quite the same.
No, I know. It's like
this time it was much more about by what gifts you give determines what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That was different.
Ultimately, these, I believe, are compilations of orally, transmitted recensions that got grafted together.
Crystallized or something.
Yeah, they got grafted together. People said, "Oh, I know this one. Oh, I know another one," and they're really similar, but we'll put them next to each other because you get these things. Maybe that's why you have 8 Shravanas in one chapter and 12 in the next.
Yeah, well, I think it is to some extent.
Came from
these are
two different accounts that
right.
had evolved in the oral tradition.
And there are justifications for each one, so I can see this.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a reason they changed it, probably. They were fixing it, as people are wont to do.
Oh, yeah.
When they see
Let me fix that. Let me help.
See a little twist in the cosmology. I'll straighten that out.
Yeah. We see this in witchcraft a lot. It's like many people polish the material over time. Just thinking, oh, that must be this word.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, because we hand copy the book. So, when you come to the word and you can't quite read it and you think, well, maybe it's
think
this
of
word.
all the years of copyists creating illuminated manuscripts and writing the Bible over and over by hand. And
well, like a good example is Ardain is what a lot of people think it is, but it's really the word Aradan. Ardain we could never find, in the dictionary. But the word Aradan in the old laws that Gardner comes up with, there really says Aradan, Aradan, and it got turned into Ardane.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And Aradan means suggestion. Ardain is not a word. You can't find it.
Serving suggestion.
You're right. Ordain is a word.
Yes, it is.
But Ardain isn't a word. So we could never figure out what that was for sure, but we kind of thought maybe it was just misspelled ordain.
Nope.
But no, it's Ardan.
Okay, then. And on that side note, we'll be back with more death.
Because we're
after
not
death.
Quite through.
We're not, but we're actually coming to the end of this volume, and one hopes we have an exciting new
story.
Stories.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see where it goes. It's been an interesting ride so far.
You never know.
I believe it will be a continuation of the second Kanda.
Yeah. We'll see.
Okay, bye.